Today we're going to explore what's new in Microsoft Dynamics GP 2018. We're going to go through a run-through of the main features and updates and improvements to Microsoft Dynamics GP. We're going to be looking specifically at what's changed right from Dynamics GP 2013 to the latest GP 2018 release. You'll see from the graphic on your screen that GP 2013 came out and we had a second release, an R2 release of 2013, around about 2014. 2015 was the next release with a R2, 2016 with an R2 release. Microsoft have now gone back to one release per year, so the latest release, which came out beginning of this year, is Dynamics GP 2018. If you look at the journey that we've been on through the functionality and how Microsoft have enhanced the functionality of the product through all the versions that we're looking at. So back in GP 2013, Microsoft released a web client at that point. As we come towards 2016, you'll see that the web client's being enhanced to be an HTML5 web client, and we see additional enhancements coming into that web client through all the different versions. They also put specific emailing functionality back in GP 2013, again, which is enhanced over the period. In GP 2013 R2, they brought out a feature that allowed us to copy journals out of Excel and just paste them straight into Dynamics. That's made it a lot easier for people who have their journals pre-created inside Excel and are able to just pick that up and paste them straight into Dynamics. You can see that also Documents Attach and SmartList Designer came out in GP 2013, and it's been really good along our journey of functionality to see how those products, those enhancements have gone through into GP 2018 to be part of the core system and how the users are now using them. So in GP 2015, you'll see that Workflow 2 came out, and by the time we're looking at GP 2018, that's been enhanced to Workflow 4 with a lot of extra features and enabled in other modules as well. So GP 2016, one of the highlights there was the all-in-one document viewer within Sales and Inventory. It had actually come out in GP 2015 R2, just in purchasing, but it had come out within Sales and Inventory by GP 2016. We'll have a look at a bit of that as well. Part of what's also going on in our journey of functionality is Microsoft working on the back end of Dynamics GP. So the ability to link in with Power BI, OData links into the data have also become part of the underlying system. And from Nolan Business Solutions point of view, what's been good to see is the ability within the core of the system to be able to reach out to .NET assemblies and also to link in with the operating system from within Dynamics GP. So let's go and have a look at some of the functionality that's been brought out through these versions, and we'll go into the product and we'll actually play with it. So the first one I want to have a look at is SmartList Designer. So SmartList Designer was introduced as a free tool in Dynamics GP 2013. It helps you get information easier. So customers that use SmartList, and I'm sure most of you do, sometimes you'll find that there's a field, there's a column that you need in that SmartList that's just not there. Designer helps you put that in. It also helps you link your Dynamics GP data to external data through SQL views. So if you're using a product, say like our eRequest, you're able to link through SmartList across to the eRequest database to get relevant data from eRequest. So let's have a look and see how we can create something in our SmartList Designer. So I'm going to go across to my Dynamics GP here, and we'll go into Smart Lists. Those of you using version earlier than GP 2013, you'll see a change in the way that SmartList looks. They've given us a lot more area on the page to be able to get our data into. So one of the things that I hear most often is that I've got a smart list of suppliers, but I really need to see the bank details on this smart list. And this is what SmartList modifier can do. So by clicking on my vendor's smart list and going into new, what the system has done is it's opened up the smart list and all the things behind it that allow me to change it. So what I need to do is link in the table that has my bank details on it. So I know that table lives in Microsoft Dynamics GP, in the tables, in the company folder, and it's my electronic funds transfer master table here. So I'm just going to tick that. And what the system does now is it adds into my smart list all the details that come from the bank type, etc., the bank name, my bank account. It adds in all those fields. Because I don't know which fields I'm going to need yet, I'm going to leave all those on the screen. I need to make a relationship between my suppliers and my electronic funds transfer. So I'm going to say table name, electronic funds transfer, field name, vendor ID is joined to my vendors table, vendor ID. That's all I need to do to make that link. I'll give this a name. I'll call it vendor bank. And I'm going to put it inside the purchasing series inside SmartList. So it comes up inside this area where I'd expect to see it. All I need to do now is click OK. And you see I've got vendor bank come up as a smart list. So really, really easy. I've just taken my vendors and I've created a brand new smart list called vendor bank. So we can see within my vendor bank, if I scroll across, I've got all the fields, including my bank name, my bank account number, etc. So I can easily see which ones I've got bank account numbers for. Actually, what I probably want to do here is I want to make a modified one and say, so I want to search for suppliers where the EFT bank account is not equal to nothing, and it brings back the 3 suppliers I've got with bank details, with their bank account numbers and their EFT codes. I can now save that as a favorite, and I'll call it vendors with bank details. And because these bank details might be sensitive, I'm going to save them so it's only I can see those. Another new feature in SmartList is I can put a password on my SmartList so that no one else can change it without knowing the password. So I'm just going to pop my password in there and add the favorite. So there's my vendors with bank details favorite, all set up for me. Just one final thing while we're talking about SmartList. If I go into create a new SmartList, down at the bottom here I have views, and within here there's a number of company views set up within the Dynamics database. Views that help you see account transactions, account summaries, etc., customers, customer items, customer addresses, vendors, and I have one for e-request. So I've got my e-request, request by purchase order. So very easily I can just click on that, bring that as a smart list into Dynamics if I've got a view set up for that already. So the enhancements to smart lists will certainly enable you to get a lot more of your data quicker, easier, and also with protection that other people can't go and change those. So let's look at another feature. Copy and paste journals. This has proved very popular with customers that are now taking up Dynamics GP 2013. So if I go and have a look at how that works, I've got a spreadsheet here where I've set up a spreadsheet which is for my rent payment. So out of my bank account, I'm going to pay $2,000. And what I want to do is in this journal, I want to split that across my various divisions. So if you're familiar with the 2-ink data, you'll know that the division is the first segment, and then my 6180 is my rent expense account. So what used to happen is that this spreadsheet was emailed to me and I would go and type it in manually into GP, into a journal. Or maybe I would go in and load it using a integration manager item. Now it's really easy. I can just go in, highlight it, press copy. You'll see that the copy's there. It's now on my clipboard. So if I go into GP and I go into General Journal, I have a paste button up here. I just need to press paste. And you can see there's my journal. £2,000 coming out of my bank account and going to the individual P&L accounts. The thing I need to do here is just put the date in, 13th of April 2018, and this is my April rent journal. And I'll just save it for a batch, ready to be approved and posted. It's a really useful way of being able to get general ledger journals into GP. The next feature we're going to talk about is document attach. This came out fairly early in the life cycle, but it's been enhanced to link in with requisitions, credit reports, add master records to sales order processing, purchase order processing. In addition, you can attach documents to individual lines within transactions. So if you've got a technical drawing maybe that needs to be linked to a sales order line, you can attach that technical drawing to that sales order line. What I'll show you now is we'll go into a customer and we'll attach a document to that customer, and then we'll actually see that document flow through onto a sales order that we put on for that customer. So back to GP. If I go to sales this time and I go into my debtor card. So let's just look up the Advanced Paper Company. Here it is. Now I'm selling some license agreement with Advanced Paper Company. So what I want to do is I want to attach to them the standard terms and conditions that I'm going to work with. So I can click on the attach button, and here's my Microsoft Online subscription agreement. So now I've attached that to the customer, to Advanced Paper Company. By going into this arrow here, I can tell the system to flow that document onto sales orders or sales invoices that I create for that customer. So I can, while I'm here, I'll just preview that document. So I can see here's my Microsoft Online subscription agreement linked in here nicely. Now this document is stored within the Dynamics GP database. So it's all nicely together with your GP data. Click on OK and I can save that. So now that document's linked against the Advanced Paper Company, when I put a sales order onto the system for Advanced 001, you'll see the attached button up here has already got a paperclip against it because the Microsoft Online Subscription Agreement text has come through onto that sales order number 2234. Similarly, if I selected an item with an attachment against it and the attachment was set to flow, that attachment would also come and attach itself to the sales order. And through the emailing on the system, we're able then to email out the order confirmation with the terms and conditions and the technical drawing if there was one, all together in one place. So documents attach has really worked well within sales, within purchasing, within the inventory, where you can attach these documents. Right, so let's just save that off there. What else is new? Let's go and have a look. So the next item I want to talk about is the all-in-one viewer. So it's a new feature that allows users to easily track the complete cycle for a particular transaction or group of transactions. It's been in since 2015, but we've now got new sales and inventory ones to go with it in 2018. So let's have a look how that might work, say within purchasing. So this time if I go to purchasing and I go to a supplier and I look up a particular supplier, let's have Capital Printed Circuits. So if I want to look at all the purchase orders, all the receipts, all the invoices, all the payments and all the returns made for Capital Printed Circuits, at the moment I can use a number of these inquiries to have a look at those transactions. With the all-in-one viewer, it does what it says on the tin and it's all on one page. Here it is here. So here's a list of the purchase orders and my query is set to show open and historical purchase orders. Here I could just restrict it to open if I wanted to. All my receipts, actually, it's just showing receipts. If I want to show shipment invoices as well, I can do that. Invoices on the system, payments, and also any returns that I've made. All these documents have a relationship together. So if I say that purchase order for 11,944, where was it received, where was it invoiced, and where was it paid, I simply need to click on the purchase order and the rest of the columns are filtered. So that purchase order was received on receipt 1034, was invoiced on invoice 393, and was paid just over a month later on payment number 203. And throughout the whole area, I can go and drill down on these documents using the drill down feature to have a look at the underlying document. So the all-in-one viewer makes it really easy for you to be able to see all the documents that relate to a particular supplier, or the documents that relate to a particular customer, or if you're looking at items, you can see the receipts where an item's come in, the sales orders where an item has gone out of stock, any transfers that have happened in the middle, and also using the tick boxes, you can then tick on a particular sales invoice that's gone out and look at the link back to the receipt where the items were brought in. So a very handy feature within GP 2018. Going to have a look at workflow within GP 2018. This has been enhanced again over the particular versions, and it's workflow version 4 in GP 2018. New workflows have been added in, such as GL account and purchase invoice workflows, and also timesheets and expenses workflows have been added into the the projects module. So if you're putting in timesheets, or your users are putting in timesheets and expenses, those are able to be seen and work through workflow to be approved by the management. So how does that work? Let's go and have a look. This links up to Active Directory. So if I go into, actually here I am within purchasing, within my capital printed circuits, I have a workflow item here. If I change something within the system, that can be submitted to workflow for approval. We can also view the history as it goes through the approval. We can view who's got it, who we're waiting for approval. And until it's fully approved, we can't do anything with that supplier. We have a view within the system to view vendors that are pending approval. If I just go into the vendors pending approval list, up it comes, and I've got those 4 suppliers there pending approval. It's pending approval action. This one, 3 of them, Angela Barnes, and 1 is multiple users, which would be myself and Angela Barnes. So there's obviously rules going on behind here that tell the system who the workflow has got to go to, who's got to approve these items. Let's go and have a look at how we set up those rules. So if we go to the admin area of Dynamics GP, and we go to workflow setup within the company database, here's a list of all the workflows that we're able to look at. So I'm in purchasing, but you'll see there's workflows available for financial, sales, purchasing, project administration. So there's your timesheet and expense approvals as well. Let's go back into purchasing. We'll go to the vendor approval one, purchase verification. So the rules that I've set up here are all new suppliers that come onto the system. The workflow should always run, and it should assign it to Angela Barnes and myself for approval. We have 8 hours to approve it by. Applying the workflow calendar, so if it's over the weekend, it doesn't enforce the 8-hour time limit. It's 8 hours of working time. It'll send us a reminder within 4 hours, and it'll send us a message set up as the vendor approval message. You can also see that if the bank details change, then only I get notification. So if I go into this particular rule, I can see the action is required only when the following condition is met. When the electronic funds transfer master bank account is not equal to the bank account that was there. So here you set up the rules, and in this case it's got to go to myself for approval. And the message that gets sent would say you have a task assigned for vendor capital printed circuits. You've been assigned a task of purchase verification for this supplier. Here's your deadline. There's a drill down for me from the email to be able to edit or view the record. It's got an action list and any comments that are put against it by the person who actually amended the field. So I get the email, I'm able to drill down, and I'm able to approve that transaction. So workflow, another handy item that's been put into GP 2018 to help usage of the system and auditability of who's approving changes to the system. So the web client in 2018 is fully HTML5 web client. Why that's exciting is that we're now able to use GP using Google Chrome, Firefox, Microsoft IE, Safari, or Opera as a browser. Because it's HTML5, it also gives us the ability to make the screens look very similar to the Dynamics GP screens, meaning that users using the web client as well as the desktop client don't get a big change in the way that it looks. So let's go have a look how the web client might look for one of your users. I'm back in here. So if I go to my browser, if I sign in, the system's asking Angela to log in here using her Active Directory credentials. So she's logging into the network, not particularly GP at this stage, because by logging into the network, it helps the authentication. And from there, once she's logged in, the system will know Angela's username within Dynamics GP. It's Angela, and she can then specify which company she's logging into. So if Angela didn't have access to all the companies, she just had access to PLC, the system knows and just gives her the companies that she's able to log into. If I click OK, takes Angela into Dynamics GP. Like I say, the screens look very similar. So if Angela's on her way out to see a customer, she could log in via the web interface. She could go into sales. She could go into inquiries, transactions by debtor. And if we have a look up, she can look up the Advanced Paper Company here and see the transactions that are against the Advanced Paper Company. I can remove history just to look at the invoices that are outstanding. That one looks interesting. Let's have a look what they bought on that particular invoice and open up the sales transaction inquiry zoom to see that they've bought some phone systems on the system here. So some of the small things that have changed, instead of buttons on these windows, we have tabs. So the customer detail inquiry is up here on a tab. The item detail inquiry is up here on a tab. So what you can see is that the way that the web client works is secure because Angela's had to log in using her network credentials. But from within the web client, she's able to get all the information, all the functionality that she has at her desktop client as well. We're going to look at the business intelligence options available to you in GP 2018. Within Microsoft Dynamics GP, you'll see it here on the left-hand side. I've got 3 different databases. These just represent different data stacks within your organization. You might have different SQL databases, you might have Excel databases living inside your system. We're able, through Dynamics GP, to access those and pull the data from those into our reporting services here. The first level of business intelligence is your standard Dynamics GP reports. These are normally the standard ones that you use for data aging reports, maybe supplier reports. If you want reports that are distributed around the organization, you've got the ability to have Excel reports, and the system comes pre-configured with hundreds of Excel reports, Excel dashboards, and the ability to see your items within Excel. Those Excel spreadsheets can be sent out as refreshable spreadsheets. So even if a user hasn't got access to GP, they can refresh the spreadsheet and get a view of the data that's within GP. Or you can open up those Excel spreadsheets from within GP itself. If you need a bit more logic going on inside your reports, we recommend customers use the SQL Server reporting services. Inside here, we can configure reports that are able to have logic in them and look at, provide different information depending on different criteria. There's the Microsoft Management Reporter, which superseded FRX in earlier versions. And the Management Reporter is a financial reporting tool enabling you to do your statutory reports. Microsoft have built in Power BI, where you're able to link your Dynamics GP data or subsets of it up to the cloud and provide Power BI type views of your data from within Office 365 using Power BI. And finally, there's the BI 360 product, which is a third-party product but gives you full budgeting, forecasting, what-if type analysis of your data. And of course, on the right-hand side, the tool that you'll use is the tool that's best suited to how you want to distribute that data, whether it's on the screen, email, spreadsheet, via KPIs, to a mobile phone, to a tablet, or to a website.